That was Gregor Townsend, the Scotland head coach, speaking to Sheila McLaren a short time ago. And Lisa Martin, there's been so much noise around Gregor, probably since the autumn, but particularly this week. The links with Newcastle, is he going there after the Rugby World Cup next year? He just needs a win today, any sort of win, just to calm down that noise and as he says himself, get this campaign up and running for Scotland.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's, like you said, there's been a lot of outside noise around what is and isn't happening for his future. But the here and now is he has to win this game to quell those conversations. Otherwise, if it ends up being a performance that, the crowd aren't happy with or Scotland fans aren't happy with, they're going to start looking for excuses and reasonings as to why that is. And the natural place to keep going to is this Newcastle Red Bulls, where he's got his consultancy, he's already doing these 30 days, but there is that potential that he's potentially going to go there afterwards. You look at stuff that's happening, maybe it's coincidence, maybe it's not. The likes of Gavin Vaughan's going down there post Six Nations. There's obviously a strong number of Scots that are going to be there. People are going to start putting two and two together, but the most important thing for him is he has to win today as a Scotland head coach. Otherwise we're going down the same path we have done before of what could have, should have been. We've like I said previously, we have a team that looks so good on paper that should be challenging for the top two spots in this championship, but it has to happen on the pitch today, and he has to get that result.
Yeah, we're waiting for Scotland to take that next step, aren't we? And Tom, I was speaking to Alistair Mackenzie, who you also know, a Scottish journalist based here in Italy, covers football and rugby, but I was just asking him how are the Italians feeling about this, and he says, well, we as Scots always feel a lot of pressure in this game and expectation to win. He says, but Italy are under pressure too. They've only got 2 home games this year, one against Scotland, one against England in round 4. Their record against England's terrible. So there's a lot of emphasis in this game for them as well, and I think the feeling in Italy is, one win maybe against Wales probably isn't cutting it anymore for them either, so there's just as much pressure on them today as there is Scotland.
There's huge pressure on Italy. I mean, you look at 2024, they won two, everyone was going, okay, is Italy really starting to emerge now at last? Last season, 1 win. They conceded 29 tries in the tournament. They conceded 73 points to France. So they do need a win. And we know from history that Italy are well capable of beating Scotland. We only looked 2 years ago. But Scotland in all of their competitions, Six Nations and World Cup warm-ups and Nations Cup, Scotland have won 13 of the last 14 against Italy. So Scotland's record is pretty good over the last number of years against Italy. So there is significant pressure on Italy to kick on, and this will be one of their kick-on games. They will see this as a kind of a must-win if their championship is going to be a success. And if they lose it, I think it'll be pretty grim in Rome tonight.
Well, you look at some of the individual battles, Peter, and it's hard to look past that midfield match-up, Brexit Menincello against Hugh Jones and Sione Tuipulotu. That is going to be very tasty.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking, 2 of the best centre combinations in the world. The Italians, Brexit Menincello, they've just went from strength to strength over the years. They can be big and physical, but they've also got a lot of rugby there as well. They attack well. They have good lines of running. Very similar to Scotland, actually. I think that the 2 back divisions as a whole are really exciting. They're both very capable of ripping the other team apart if they get the opportunity. So I'm excited to see that. And then for that to work, though, Andy, as you know, as we all know, that there's no game without the forwards. We can play rugby without 2 sets of backs quite easily, but you can't play a game of rugby without a set of forwards, because you need that quality of ball, and that's going to be the challenge, I think. Which team, set piece, really important, but the breakdown, and which team gets the best ball at the breakdown, the cleanest ball, the quickest ball, that's where the game's going to be won and lost. And that means both sets of forwards are going to be really accurate. It means your ball carrier is going to be really aggressive, dominate that collision. And then, I know the game's not started yet, but the match officials come into that as well. How they manage, how Ben O'Keefe manages the breakdown will be crucial, especially to Scotland, because Scotland's whole game is based on quick ball for the ruck. That's where their whole game, and if Scotland can get that, then I think Hugh Jones and Tuipulotu can rip this Italian team apart.
And what they need, Tom, is some go forward, and there's not many better on current form at providing that forward momentum than Jack Dempsey, who has just been an absolute beast for Glasgow in recent weeks.
He's been extraordinary. He's been the best rugby of his life, I think. And he is against incredible opposition against Toulouse. He's tearing it up against all comers. His involvement, not just the quality of his work, but the number of involvements, is just been through the roof. So he's in brilliant form. Like, you look at this Scotland team. This is an outstanding Scotland team. On paper, as Lisa was saying, this is a terrific set of players. They just need to go and prove it. They need to be ruthless. They need to execute. They need to be as good as we know they can be without the psychological frailties. And if they are, I think they will win this game, and they might win it comfortably if they cut out the implosions.
Yeah, we just want to see this team play to its potential, Lisa. That's the long and short of it with Scotland, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. It's always that point of we've gone through the dark stages, the tough times of being a Scotland fan, and we've seen how well these players have been playing at club. Like we've said previously, Glasgow are one of the top teams in Europe at the moment, and we just want to see that sort of form translate into a Scotland jersey. I think we've done our time. We've done our time waiting for success as a Scotland fan. I'd like to have it now, please. My patience has worn thin.
Yes, I think we are all ready for that. You are listening to Sports Sound Rugby on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Sports Extra. Round 1 of the Six Nations, Italy versus Scotland. It's a sellout here at the Stadio Olimpico. Not a seat to be had. The last fans just shuffling their way into the stadium. The smoke from the pyrotechnics is covering the pitch at the moment, but that'll clear up shortly. It looks like the clouds are starting to clear, I'm happy to report, as the teams make their way out onto the field. Scotland in their change purple kit, Italy of course the Azzurri and the famous blue, and the fireworks go up into the air, and a bit more smoke across the pitch in the Italian colours, the green and white and red, and we have the band ready to go with the big flags laid out on the pitch. A lot of Scotland fans have made the journey to Rome. There's a lot of kilts, a lot of Doddy tartan trews on show. The Scots have travelled in great numbers. They've made Rome their own over the past 24 hours or so, and they come here really hoping to see their team get their Six Nations campaign up off to a positive start with victory here in Rome. The teams are lined up on either side of the halfway line. We are almost ready to go here at the Stadio Olimpico, but first now we pause for the national anthems.
tocca a noi. Signore e signori, tutti insieme agli azzurri, l'inno della Repubblica Italiana.
It is Six Nations time again for Scotland and Italy, and the campaign begins with the usual sense of excitement, of hope, of expectation, and of course a few nerves about what Scotland can produce. They have never contended for this championship since 5 became 6 in 2000. The familiar question posed at the start of this campaign, as it has been for the last 7 or 8 years, is this the year? For that to be the case, they have to overcome a talented and impressive Italy side, who are shorn of a few of their best players, admittedly, but still, particularly at home in the Stadio Olimpico, which is packed to the rafters, are a formidable force, as Scotland found out to their cost 2 years ago when they roared back from 12 points down at one stage to win it by 2 and further damage Scotland's campaign in 2024. Scotland, though, a sense that this is a squad picked, littered with form players, particularly the Glasgow Warriors, 9 of them in the starting 15, 14 in the 23. Will that make all the difference in terms of the grit, the steel, and ultimately the winning mentality that Warriors have formed over recent seasons under Franco Smith? Italy, hugely passionate as always at the anthem, a few in tears, and they are gunning for blood. Just that one win in 14 meetings with Scotland, and they view this as the scalp they can take, particularly at home, perhaps more than any other, albeit Wales into that camp now after a bleak few years. Ben O'Keefe is the referee from New Zealand, man in the middle, and he is issuing the final instructions before this game gets underway. Stadio Olimpico, still some of the smoke clearing from the pre-match pyrotechnics. We are moments away from Italy and Scotland resuming Six Nations hostilities, live on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Sports Extra, and it is Italy and Paolo Garbisi who get things going, and Scotland take the restart through Jack Dempsey and immediately set up the ruck. And 2 years ago they gave away a penalty from the first ruck, so that is a more promising start for Scotland as they look to exit through Ben White, scrum half. It's the ball at the base of the ruck and puts the box kick downfield towards the halfway line, and it will be an Italian line out on the 10. And Gonzalo Quesada, the Italian coach, watching on in the coach's box. Had a fantastic 2 wins and a draw in his first campaign in 2024. Just the 1 win against Wales last year, as they look to continue to show themselves as a growing force in the Six Nations after years of being favourites for the wooden spoon. Nico Terra throws in at the line out. Scotland disrupt, and it's come out on the Scotland side, and Ben White loops the pass into midfield. Hugh Jones collects, gives it now to Tom Jordan. It's worked right to the touchline, and Kyle Staney steps in, and good strength as he carries into the tackle. White back towards the near side. Good tackle goes in from Nico Terra. Scotland moving it through the hands to Tuipulotu, Jones and Jordan, and the ball's spilled out the back, and Russell is in a bit of bother, but he stays composed, gives it to Hugh Jones, who is one away from becoming Scotland's top try scorer in the Six Nations. And it's all a bit sluggish at the moment as Scotland set up and go short. One out to Pierre Schoeman, who is tackled, and White again set up the opportunity to box kick, and it goes high into the Rome sky, and this is such a massive part of the game now, and Kyle Steyn gets a touch on it, and Ben O'Keefe says it's gone backwards, so Scotland have won it back just on the halfway line. It goes back to Russell, who puts the kick in, chips it in behind the Italian back three. It pops up eventually for Ioane, and he puts the right boot to it and goes with the touch finder and just down roundabout near the halfway line. Peter Wright.
Yeah, a kind of interesting start. Scotland, a lot of ball, a lot of possession without actually going anywhere or doing anything, and not as slick. I think they were trying to set up a sort of a contact to maybe put a tactical kick in, and they didn't quite get it. But one thing was for sure, the Italian defence is, in that first couple of minutes, was certainly up for it. So it's an intriguing game.
Yeah, they've gone 6.
Ewan Ashman, and he finds Fagerson in the lineup, which popped up as they were trying to set up the maul, and now it's a knock-on advantage for Italy, and it will be a scrum, and that is sloppy from Scotland. Lisa Martin.
Yeah, it's definitely not the way they want to start with that first line out there for Scotland. Obviously, Italy, their first line out, they managed to fumble it a little bit, the throw was a little bit too high on it. You'd like to see unchallenged as well. Matt Fagerson's gone up there. It's just battered off Grant Gilchrist's head there as he's trying to come in to secure that maul. I'm talking like I know what a maul is here. I very much view this from the outside, but it's not the way they want to go.
Towards the knock on.
Oh, so there's a penalty being awarded now to Scotland, so it was going to be the scrum, so the illegal drive coming in. Scotland get the penalty on halfway, so that is a net win.
You know, that's obviously TMO that's came in with that. He's refereeing the game but it's something like that where it wasn't dangerous. It was just missed because there's so much going on there. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't bad. That's for me when TMO's just keep out of it. You know, let the referee the game. Yeah, refereeing, big subject in lots of sports. Scotland are the beneficiaries on this occasion because they've kicked themselves into the Italian 22, and Ashman and the forwards will get another go to get it right, and they haven't done so. Italy claw it away, and it's bouncing in front of their line, picked up and carried forwards. Scotland's line out and maul set up malfunctioning early on, and Italy get out of jail there, and it's box kicked by Fusco high and down the pitch towards their own 10-metre line, taken by Kyle Steyn. He's just taken around the ankles by Ioane. It's a really good tackle from the winger. White now gives it into midfield, and Scotland set up again. Gilchrist is offering one out, but it doesn't reach him as Ashman takes forward. Such a dynamic cooker, Ewan Ashman in the looses. It goes to Russell, and he puts the kind of kick over the top, and it bounces out just short of the 22. So Scotland opting for field position and a bit of pressure. Russell doesn't look too impressed with his kick, but Italy still pinned back at the moment, and it is still scoreless in the opening minutes in Rome. Interesting, just kicking there. It probably says that Scotland are respecting this defence, thinking we don't want to get caught back in their own half, so we'll put it back down to the Italian, let them come out, make the decision of what they're going to do outside their own 22.
Part of them all.
An Italian line-out secured by Lamaro, the Italy captain, marking half a century in the blue of the Azzurri this afternoon. And another kick goes downfield over halfway against Kyle Steyn. He's underneath it, and as he knocked that on, it's come back to Italy anyway, and they'll try and play out, and then the kick is charged down there. It was Louis Lina's effort, and it's broken back towards the other side as they work it to Ioane. He is tackled. It's all quite scrappy and a bit error strewn in the opening 7 minutes of this match in Rome. Italy setting up the long ruck to kick, and Scotland told not to come round the sides. Again, it's a box kick. Steyn, Jordan comes a long way He's managed to get that back as well. It's a good take, and the penalty though for Italy. And holding on as Gilchrist lying at the bottom of that ruck, and Scotland's discipline falls short there, and Italy get the penalty.
I think there's a lot of edge in here in terms of this initial kicking battle to see who's going to get the upper hand. But I think, like we spoke about before, it's now coming down to the breakdown. Scotland want to get nice clean ball, and they just need to make sure they're really clinical when they're coming in to clear that, because Italy have got some absolute threats there in terms of the jackal, none more so than Zulani. So I think, again, key battle there. Italy have just got the front foot on this one, but I think I'd like to see a bit more and around the set piece here.
Doesn't help when you're first getting the breakdowns, your winger try to clear it out against two big forwards, and Kelstein just wasn't quite accurate enough, and the Italian fella got his hands on the ball.
Line out comes in, that's well taken by Zambonin and worked into midfield, and there goes Menoncello. Quick ball for Italy, and they come towards this near side. Xander Fagerson with a good tackle. Fusco to Breck, stabs the kick in behind. Chance here is going to set up for Laina, and he slides over for the opening score. Brilliant, quick, fast, slick rugby from Italy. Brex puts the kick through, and Laina gobbles it up. And as he did 2 years ago when Italy beat Scotland, he's grabbed a try, Laina, and it is 5-0 to the Italians early on in Rome.
That was just a really good spot by the Italian attack, noticing that Scotland had left that relative short side just under defended, and meaning that the wingers had to come up, so there's massive space in behind there for Brex to just dab that kick through. And with a massive dead ball area here at the Stadio Olimpico, it just gives Louis Laina that ability to just dive himself over the line and get that first points in.
A really well worked score there from Italy, and it's the first possession they've really had in any meaningful position, as Garbisi goes from the touchline with the left foot, and it's come off the outside of the post, so it will stay Italy 5, Scotland 0.
Yeah, and it just shows you how important having that all-round ability, not just as a ball carrier, but having that vision to put little kicks in behind. Defences now are so quick into your face, you've got to have that kicking game, and it's just executed so well. Tom Jordan's obviously went to the open side, because as the fullback that's where he would go, but as Lisa said, to identify that as quickly as they did and put that kick in, it's an excellent, simple but excellent try.
Yeah, Italy's potent backline, full show there, really well worked, as Brex also earning his 50th cap, as there's a knock on from Italy at the restart, so that is sloppy from the Azzurri. Gonzalo Quesada will be frustrated with that one. Louis Laina made his debut against Scotland in that win in 2024, scored, and he's managed to grab his 4th test try, his 10th cap, scored in the win over Australia in the autumn. It was a fairly productive autumn for Italy, beat Chile and then pushed South Africa all the way, albeit the Springboks had an early red card to Franco Mostert in that game and still managed to win it, as they tend to do. Managed it against France as well. Only need 14 players on the pitch these days, the Springboks. Scrum, Scotland put in. Ben White ready to deliver. It's a solid scrum from Scotland, and advantage is being played to the visitors as Tuipulotu carries forward in midfield. His first outing as captain in the Six Nations for Scotland after missing last year with injury. White digs it out. Italian defence is up really quickly as Gilchrist carried. Now it's Cummings to Schoeman, and he manages to steal a couple of yards on the deck as it goes to Jones and Jordan, and now out to Ewan Ashman, who's lurking on the right wing, and no advantage, so that penalty Scotland will come back for. And you wonder if Finn Russell might fancy going for the post here.
I think it was the right decision. Line-out hasn't quite been functioning, but again, it's that intent. This is maybe the first foray Scotland are going to get into the Italian 22. Do they want to see if the forwards can back up and create a good line-out here? I think Scotland need this. We spoke about before. Their conversion rate in the 22 hasn't been good enough. This is an opportunity to strike straight back.
Italy 5, Scotland 0. Laina's early try the difference, but Scotland have elected to go for the kick in towards the corner, and they will back their line out to recover after 2 early mishaps, and it needs to recover. Such a platform for them, They scored most of their tries in last year's Six Nations off first and second phase, but it's gone awry again. Italy have pinched it. Scotland not at it. That element of the game in the opening 10 minutes in Rome, and the Azzurri can set up a ruck and try and just clear their lines here. Scotland's wasteful in the 22 with their opportunities thus far. Box kick, that was close to being charged down, and it's been kept in by Kyle Steyn right on the touchline. Throws it infield to Tom Jordan. Massive hitch step, and he's spotting a bit of space here to try and put Jamie Dobie through. Dobie is wrapped up by the Italy defence. Scotland between the 10 and the Italy 22. Strong carry from Schoeman as he bumps off one. And it's Ben White to Darge. Now at the back to Russell. Russell takes it to the line and is tackled. Ben White goes digging, gives it to Rory Darge, who was top of a lot of Scotland's metrics in terms of turnovers and tackles in last season's championship. Here comes Tuipulotu, steps on the inside and takes the contact. Italy deciding not really to compete at that ruck as it goes towards the far side in Ashman. Strong carry from the hooker, quick ball and picked round the sides from Matt Fagerson, makes a few metres, and the penalty goes Italy's way because Xander Fagerson was in competing there, but he's come in at the side, says Ben O'Keefe, and Italy again getting the break there. And Scotland attack comes to nothing. 5-0 they trail.
Yeah, it's a couple of things there. Schumann got taken out of the ruck before he was anywhere near it. He's then penalised Gilchrist, I think, for coming in the side. Lots going on, but that's the thing in the nature of the breakdown. There's so much going on, you can't pick it up. But Scotland, 3 line-outs, lost the 3 of them. 2 stolen, 1 knocked on. If you don't win your set piece, you've got no chance of winning games.
Exactly, and every time Italy seem to get up in front as well. So let's look for a different gap, find a different hole. There's got to be a space somewhere.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating part of the game so far for Scotland in the opening 10 minutes or so. They trail Italy by 5-0, and Italy have kicked that penalty down just over halfway, and will have the line outs. Gregor Townsend in his 9th Six Nations as Scotland head coach, finishes of 3rd, 5th, 4th, 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 3rd and 4th again in the last 2. Not the start he would have wanted in this massive match in Rome. Italy secure their line out, and it goes to Lorenzo Cannoni, bang in the middle of the pitch, the number 8. Fusco puts the kick in, going to test the Scotland back 3. Jamie Dobie goes up, and there's a good contest in the air, and Italy have won it, and they've got quick ball as well as they work it to the edge. It's looked over Kyle Steyn's head, and Menoncello's going in at the corner. He steams over the line, and Italy stretch their advantage. What a finish from Tommaso Menoncello. Again, incisive rugby from Italy. Twice they've been in Scotland's half, and twice they've come away with the 5 points. It is Italy 10, Scotland 0.
It's clearly a lot of homework's been done by Italy there, because it's a set piece. They've gone really wide off the first phase for that line out, and then put the box kick up in the middle, knowing that maybe the back 3 of Scotland isn't as comfortable in those areas, with the likes of Jamie Dobie and Tom Jordan there. And Louis Lynott does unbelievably well to not only control his body in the air, but hold on to the ball. And then Menoncello just lurking on the wing. It's, like I say, 100% this is something they've been working on. They've maybe seen in a Scotland tape and thought, this is a way we can get it at Scotland here, and it's proved very fruitful.
Scotland have had a lot of possession, but the one thing they've not tried is the kick. They've not put the ball up in the air. Now, Italy just showed you, every team does it now. Every team puts so many kicks up. They do chase. When you're chasing as good as that, it's obviously the kick's worthwhile doing, but Scotland have got to try and bring a bit of variation to the game. They are trying to play a lot of rugby, but the Italian defence is up for it big time, and ultimately it goes back to the set piece, doesn't it? We're not winning our set piece. We're losing ball at the right times where it can be really valuable to us, and they've just got to get that sorted out. 2 tries, 10-0 is it? Did you get the conversion?
Yeah, squeeze the conversion in.
So 12-0, and Italy will had the ball twice.
Yeah, it was a good kick from Garbisi, and Italy have looked electric when they've had the ball in hand. The 2 times they have done so, they've ripped Scotland apart, and now almost in terms of the fitting start Scotland have made, the rain is teeming down in Rome. Scotland have to dig themselves out of a hole here. They were fast starters in last season's competition. Their problem was the final quarter, and actually they had often ruinous periods between 40 and 60 minutes, but they were good starters in games. Not in this game, in the opening match of the championship for Italy and Scotland. It is Italy 12, Scotland 0, as Darge carries into contact, and it is worked to Xander Fagerson.
Knock on.
And the knock-on is called by Italy against Scotland. And Xander Fagerson gets to his feet, and almost everything that could go wrong from a Scotland point of view at this moment in time is going wrong as Italy get the scrum. And just seen a shot of Gregor Townsend looking on, not a flicker of emotion across his face, but he must be furious inside.
I mean, is it bad to say when it rains it pours given the current weather? But no, it just seems to be compounding mistakes after mistakes there. We just need to get some form of foothold into the game and just get some ability to string some phases together. I think they say, Peter, we've just not had the ball, A, in the right places, and B, for enough time to feel like we can do anything with it, anything meaningful with it.
I think if you play the way teams know Scotland are going to try and play multi-phase, so they get their defence set up in that sense. I think sometimes you've just got to bring a little bit something different, so that little kick in behind. I mean, Italy have put 2 kicks in, little grubber kick behind, score a try, bomb it, get the ball back, score a try. So it shows you the kicking game can actually bring you a lot of positives, and I just think sometimes Scotland don't do it enough.
Free kick given against Scotland at the scrum now as well, and Italy put the chip in, and it goes out just shy of Scotland's 22. Garbisi just trying to put the pressure back on Scotland, and you have to say, with the conditions now the way they are, it favours the team who have already got a 12-point advantage. Still a long way to go in this match, of course, and we know if there's one thing about this Scotland team, they can concede tries in short order, and they can certainly score them as well, but they haven't looked like it so far in this game. Italy in complete control. You feel certainly on the scoreboard and tactically as well, from what we've seen in Scotland, do secure a line out for the first time as Gilchrist gets it away. They're having to come from their own half. Xander Fagerson drives on Jack Dempsey. Gilchrist goes over the top, and it goes to Ben White to try and clear here. Goes to the skies, and Ioane has come from deep, gets a paw on it. Was that knocked forwards? Ben O'Keefe is happy with it. It comes out on Scotland's side. Gilchrist carries forward. Nicotera and Canoni with the tackle on him. Ben White plucks the ball out on the 10-metre line in his own half, fairly central, hooks the kick high and behind the Italian defence as Garbisi is challenged, and he spilled that, so knock-on advantage of Scotland. White gets it away. It goes to Russell, but there's a forward in there, I think, with Scott Cummings getting in the way of things, as Tuipulotu now runs laterally. Good handoff though from the Scotland captain, and then just as he makes a break on the outside, he slips on the sodden turf. And still advantage for Scotland in terms of that knock-on. Gilchrist over the 10-metre line. Scotland setting things up here, and they go towards the far side, which is the shorter side, and then it's spilled out by Schoeman, and then it is a penalty to Scotland for offside, coming back for that advantage. And I guess they have to kick to the corner, Peter, but do they back the line out at this stage? Yeah,
I think you have to still. You know, you've still got to go through your processes. The interesting thing, because of the conditions, I think the Italians are thinking these guys are not going to put a lot of passes in now. You know, or if they are, it's going to be a one pass probably hit, which then allows you to get your line speed up because you're not too worried about them maybe doing stuff out the back. You know, that all that movement that Scotland normally do, they're not doing any of that yet. It's a one pass hit. And they're not getting anywhere because the Italian defence is obviously lapping it up.
Yeah, it's just those double hits means that Scotland also can't get that high tempo ball they're wanting. So as much as the conditions aren't great, I would like to see a couple little tips. We had a little bit in the earlier stages of the game, and it does work. It kind of tempts the Italians in, thinking we can put a double shot on here. Sorry, ball's moved.
Line out just short of the 5, and it's squirmed from the grasp of Scotland again, and it went backwards as the only saving grace, so it's come out on their side. Matt Fagerson digs at the back of the ruck, gives it one out, and Scotland are 5 metres short despite that further line out malfunction. Gilchrist to Schoeman lays it back, but Italy are snapping into the tackles and driving Scotland back. No go forward at the moment. They're in the shadow of the Italy post, Scotland, but it's slow ball. Darge carries round the corner, and the forwards are swarming round the ball, and it goes to Matt Fagerson. Carries one round the corner again. Pick and go from Xander Fagerson this time. Scotland back up to the 5. White to Gilchrist, who bows the head and drives on. Slow, steady metres now from Scotland, but Italy's defence is ferocious at the moment. Still Scotland come. White and he snipes round the edge and gets the pass away, but Scotland don't make any yards there. Camped on the 5, and White goes to Gilchrist. Further advantage coming, offside against Italy. White pops it now to Ashman, who made metres initially and then was dragged back really well by the Italian defence. It's messy at the ruck, but Scotland still have that penalty advantage. They trail Italy by 12 points to 0. It is Xander Fagerson takes the responsibility. Ben White goes to the wing now. Kyle Steyn off the right hand side, but he doesn't get very far. Garbisi involved in that tackle. Darge, still the advantage being played to Scotland. Darge forced back. White coming towards the near side. Scotland wonder if they'll think about trying to use the advantage here. They use the backs now, and it's Hugh Jones, but he's wrapped up by Lainan Menincello, and Scotland will be forced to take the penalty now by the referee, and probably just as well, because they were struggling, and now Brex and Xander Fagerson are getting into a shoving match as the referee tells them to calm things down.
Yeah, disappointed. They've got the advantage there. I always think once you've got the advantage, you should be setting up a play to get it out of your backs, even if the rain's like that, because you've got that safety net always coming back to the penalty. If you keep going pick and go, then obviously you can give away a penalty, maybe going over the top. So have a go. You've earned the right to earned the chance to have a go.
Tap and go from Ewan Ashman, and Scotland are about 3 metres from the line, and forwards, and the advantage is being played because Zuliani had his hands all over that ball illegally, so it will be another advantage to Scotland. You think one more and Italy could be in trouble in terms of the card coming into play. It squirms out the side of the ruck, so we'll go back for penalty advantage, and Scotland's not making any headway into this Italian defence at the moment, and maybe it's time for a rethink here. And Ben O'Keefe, the referee, I think warning Italy could be yellow card coming if they infringe one more time.
The fact he had his hands on the ball for about 10 seconds, it's not like 1 or 2 seconds, he's got it there for like 10 seconds. Get him, card him and get him off.
Scotland tap and go again through Ashman. Gilchrist latches on, as does Xander Fagerson. It goes to Matt Fagerson now. 3 metres out Scotland. Italy just a great appetite for defending their try line. They lead by 12. Scotland need to hit back in this opening quarter, and Italy warned to get the hands off the ball. Matt Fagerson pops it, and then there's a try for Dempsey. He's wriggled over, the pressure tells, and Scotland are back in this game. Jack Dempsey's 3rd test try, and boy, they needed that. Italy 12, Scotland 5.
Yeah, you take your hat off to Scotland a little bit, because in those conditions and the physicality that the Italians are bringing to that collision, you know, to keep a hold of the ball, and actually it's turned into, it's a great wee step off his right foot, wasn't it? And he really left the Italian player for dead there. But again, they were playing to an advantage, so it just gives that little bit more sort of attitude to go for it. Needed that.
Yes, a brilliant step from Jack Dempsey, as Peter describes there. He really sold it, almost looked like he was committing to go on the outside, and then comes back in and has the strength and the composure. But the rain really is pouring down as Russell knocks the conversion over from in front of the post. Lisa,
I think what really helps in that attack in the 22 is their ability to get to the second defender. So it means that Italy have to make a decision to try and fold around the corner. Like I say, that last little minute step by Jack Dempsey, we know that Nicotera there was committed. He was looking for a big hit. Italy are looking for big hits all day. So that last little minute footwork, change the point of attack there, just means you're going to get extra yards, and he just cruises over.
So Italy have their momentum checked by Scotland after a period of pressure, and it was just what the Scotland team ordered, because Italy had scored 2 really well worked tries as they put the kick up, and it's well taken by Tom Jordan, coming from full back in his own half. 12-7, Italy's lead cut to 5 in the first half of the Stadio Olimpico.
Italy, stay here.
Is Ben White, who rolls the ball back.
No!
Fagerson protects the ball, and that looked like an infringement there around the side. He was told no. Cannoni, and he goes round the side and charges down, and Scotland will get the penalty.
I can get why Cannoni's getting frustrated there, because obviously you've got to have your shoulder connected to the ruck to be part of the ruck. Xander's gone in and just put an arm in it, so you can get his frustration there. But if Ben O'Keefe's telling him no, don't go, you've got to pull out, because you've just then given Scotland an easy penalty.
It is almost biblical, the rain coming down.
Just talk to me.
There's
and
no
then
excuse.
obviously,
Look how France played on Thursday night, and it was the same. The rain in Paris was horrendous, and France played well. So it does make it more difficult, and particularly with the ferocity that the Italians are coming at them. You know, it's quite, because what you start doing, instead of keeping your hands out and the ball in your hands ready to flick on, you tend to tuck it in because you're frightened that it'll just slip out your hand.
Yep, shifters
Ewan
go.
Ashman, this time Matt Fagerson gathers the line out in the maul, makes a few metres Italy are disrupting and managed to spill it, and it's halted now over the 10-metre line as Gilchrist blushes there, not spared as the shorts came down, and goes into midfield to Piloto. Lovely hands for Russell, takes it to the line. It's out now to Jordan, and it's Ben White who picks up. Scotland stopped on the far side, just right on the touchline as Schoeman is tackled, lays it back for Ben White. Now Xander Fagerson collects, double hit comes in. White for Darge, then Tuipulotu helps his back rower. Italy with a good counter ruck, makes it a bit messy. White out to Dempsey, the try scorer. Good drive from Dempsey, such an aggressive physical player. Gilchrist lays the pass, and Scotland over the gain line slightly, but then that squirms out of the grasp of Kyle Steyn. Knock on advantage, Italy kick it, Ioane, and it's charged down, and is all very messy as it's picked up by Marine and eventually cleared and taken by Dobie, and he puts the little chip in. Jamie Dobie taken well though by Monticello, who's driven out of the pitch, and it will be a Scotland line out.
I always think the way rugby works is compared to like football. If you pick your team on Thursday, but when you get to the weather like this, do you then think about changing your team? For me, this is an ideal game for Blair Kinghorn. You know, he's big at that, big in that. That's never a penalty. If they're going to, he touches him, but he doesn't tackle him. He just touches him.
Yeah, so Italy given the penalty. Jamie Dobie penalised for taking Monticello in the air. It wasn't a great deal in it, but it does touch him as it's cleared out. So Italy will have the line out, bang on the halfway line. And we saw the tactic last time was interesting, into midfield, kick up, and from there they scored.
It was a good bit of attack from Scotland though. I think it's the first time you've probably seen them try and play a little bit, move the ball a little bit. As much as these conditions are truly terrible to watch, we are Scottish, we do train a lot of this, so maybe trying at Oriam isn't a great thing, but I think we should have the ability and confidence to try to move the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, and Nathan Macbeth's had to come on. Must be a HIA for Schumann, yeah, as Macbeth, who was amazing in that, played 80 minutes against Toulouse, that fine win for Glasgow. Big chance for him, an international scene, his sixth cap, as Italy set up the ruck and box kick, and big pressure on this. Dobie's under it, line a challenge as well. It comes back on Scotland's side. Scotland will have possession in their own 22, trailing Italy by 12 points to 7 in the first half in Rome, and they were 12-0 down. Scoreboard has improved after Jack Dempsey's try as White clears down the field, taken by Garbisi, and now Italy will try and run this through Monte Ioane, and he loops the pass out to the left wing where Monticello, from where he scored his try,
knocked that one there,
and the referee hasn't spotted it, so Italy keep coming. Nico Terra, and now Fusco out to the short side. Brex is tackled. Fusco will stab the kick in, and it's straight out, and that was a bit of a bizarre decision, unless there's an advantage we weren't aware of there.
I'm not entirely sure what he saw there, because it was a truly terrible kick for one, and B, you're trying to work with 3 metre gap,
Let's get a ball.
Why?
There was a man there as well. I mean, Kyle Steyn was standing on his wing covering it.
Yeah, that's the thing. The kick was on. If the kick was on, fullback was going to cover it. It was just a wee brain fade for the scrum half. They often do that, don't they?
And it's well clung to by Scott Cummings at the back of the line out, as another one threatened to slip away from him. Scotland are on their own 10. Ben White has to really go digging for that one, and again he's going to kick. Such a massive part of the game now. as it always has been, but yes, new change to the law favouring the chasing team. And Italy with the ruck and comes out for Giuliani. The back rower carries over the 10. And Nico Terra is looking at the referee, pleading for a decision he's not going to get. Goes back to Garbisi, whose left foot is a weapon for Italy. Well taken by Tom Jordan, and he will get the penalty as well.
Sorry, other way.
Oh, he's reversed, got it the wrong way. So obstruction is the call from Ben O'Keefe, and Italy will get the penalty. And Laina is playing really well in that aerial battle at the moment for Italy.
In front of the catcher. He's got can't contest feeling.
I wish he would shut up. He just talks, and I think he talks far too much, the referee. He needs to, in my opinion, I think he is trying to help them, but he's got to let them, especially at the breakdown, he's got to let them decide, the player decide what's a ruck, what's not a ruck, what is hands-on and hands-off. And I know why he's doing it. He does it to try and manage the breakdown, but while it is his job to an extent, I often think not to the extent that he does it.
Yeah, we're just getting a shot of a replay here. So it's just to be an obstruction there as Tom Jordan took that ball.
Because you can't just run. You actually got to make a conscious effort to get out the road of any player that's coming. So it used to be you could just run that line backwards and you're okay, but not now. You've got to make a conscious effort to look over your shoulder to see you're not blocking any opposition player.
So Italy kick into the 22, and Nico Terra throws it in, and it's well won by Gilchrist, but all they can do is slap it back out, and Italy will get a second chance from this line out. Really testing conditions for the forwards and the line out. It is absolutely belting with rain in Rome, as we see a shot of Scott Cummins with a headband on. He's one of those charged with trying to get his hands on it, but it is Nico Terra to go again, and he goes to the front, and it's taken by Cannoni, and the ball right on the right hand side for Italy, and an advantage being played as it splinters slightly, and Italy trying to regather themselves to go again. Scotland doing a good job of slowing momentum at the moment, but for how long? Italy told to use it here. I think they have penalty advantage, and Scotland now with a big job of work to do to keep them out as Italy hunt a third try. Fischetti, the loose heads up to almost the 5 metre line. Italy menacing in attack so far, leaving it to the big men for now as Fusco goes left, but then Italy have spotted some space for Garbisi in the pocket, and he knocks over the drop goal, but he's missed it, so they're going back for the penalty.
See there, that's an interesting one, isn't it? He comes back for the penalty. He should have got that drop goal. He's right in front of the post, 18 metres out. To me, that is definitely the advantage over. Just because he's missed it with a bad kick, that should be the advantage. If he hadn't went for the drop goal, then definitely come back, but not in that situation.
Yeah, he was under no pressure whatsoever. So like you say, it should in theory be a certainty. So at that point, yeah, advantage should be over. But they get another chance to get 3 points on the board, again due to Scotland's ill-discipline.
Yeah, I have to say it's one of my real bugbears with rugby is the huge advantages that get played. There was one for France on Thursday night. It was last about 5 minutes, and football's actually the opposite, where you get no advantage. You get about 5 seconds, if that, and the referee pulls it back. But Garbisi opts for the kick, and he struck this one beautifully after a horrible miss from in front of the post.
I'd always argue, if you get the penalty in the 22, I think you can go for a long time with advantage, because if you get a penalty in the 22, you're going to kick it. 99 times out of 100 you will kick that. So the only advantage can be a score, a try. So in the 22, outside the 22, I'm not quite as sure.
Yeah, it's up for interpretation, isn't it? But I think that's maybe something they could maybe look at, is actually how do you make that a bit more formalised.
When Scotland have made a meal of the restart as they trail by 15 points to 7, and Italy coming up the left wing. Ioane, who's tackled brilliantly by Kyle Steyn as he was making a real nuisance of himself and threatening to get into the 22. Scotland just guilty of switching off down the short side from that restart, and Italy were able to break out from their own 22. It will be a knock-on called against Ioane because he was looking to put the kick in as he was tackled, and it's a knock-on against Italy, but far too easy from a Scotland point of view for Italy there.
Yeah, obviously they've sent Kyle Steyn up because he's really good in the air, so they've asked him to go chase after that. But then no one's covered his space on that blind side, so Montiani just gets a free run of it. Again, it's that little detail that you'd expect Scotland to be on top of. Like, this is, as we've said probably for years now, kickoffs is on their set piece, so you drill this out and out and out. Someone's clearly just not worked hard enough to get in that space.
And it was Kyle Steyn who challenged the kick, and it was Kyle Steyn that made the tackle on Ioane to get the turnover. So he did get back, but you're absolutely right. You have to somebody has to fill that space that Steyn's left.
Yeah, terrific work rate from Kyle Steyn. Garbisi stretching Italy's lead, and they are a side, not that it's unique in world rugby, but they really do take the points when they're on offer. It was at the heart of their win over Australia in the autumn. They did so against the Springboks as well. Actually did so against Scotland in the last 2 Six Nations, where Allen and Garbisi have kicked them into the game and in a position to strike late on as Macbeth has gone back off the pitch. So I think
it's about keeping the scoreboard ticking over. You know, you pressure 3 point pressure. Yeah, we always want 7 points or a try or whatever, but just keeping that, especially in conditions like it is. You know, it's so wet. You want that scoreboard just to be ticking over nice and easy.
Scrum to Scotland on their own 10. And Italy get a real shove on here, and the advantage is there with Italy, and it comes out for them, and it is a kick high, and this will test Scotland's defence as Lina knocks on, but they'll come back for the penalty advantage, and they might fancy kicking another here. It would be a difficult one for Garbisi, but nonetheless Italy have been by far the better side in this first half, and they have the 8-point lead to show for it.
And that's not Scotland standing up, that's Italy driving them up. You can't, if you read the laws of the game, you must drive straight, can't drive down, can't drive up. All the Italians have done there, they've got the ascendancy, absolutely, but the whole Italian front row started to drive up the way, and because you're going backwards, if they don't put their heads out, they're going to damage their necks. So you watch this, look at the height of the tight head.
Yeah, pops up.
Big Ferrari, isn't it? He basically stands up on Schumann. Now, the problem is, if you look at that and then give the penalty to Scotland, 99 people in that stadium go, that's a disgraceful decision. Italy were dominant, but they were dominant by being illegal, in my opinion.
Nico Terra will take this line out for Italy, just on the threshold of Scotland's 22. Now it's dropped by Cannoni, but it falls for Fischetti, and he gets a pass away to Fusco. The scrum half is tackled, and Italy set up just a few yards short of the 22 now. And really testing conditions for the players. Hard to overemphasise how wet it is in Rome right now, as Italy take it forwards. And it's pulled back. Garbisi fancies another goal from much further out as he got this one. It looks like he's pulled it wide of the post. He has indeed. So Scotland's away with that one. He's looked decent off the tee, but not with the drop goals. As I said, they're always keen to take the points if they can, Italy. They don't score a lot of tries, albeit they've got 2 in this first half against Scotland. And Russell's restart is not the best, but it dribbles through to Garbisi on the 10. He puts it up, and Tess, the Scotland back 3 in Jordan's horribly misjudged it. It bounces, but it's gone backwards. Italy pile in at the breakdown to try and get the turnover, but Scotland have secured it.
Jordan touched that? I thought Jordan touched that and went forward. Maybe not.
We'll take the rubber green on this one.
Box kick goes in, another aerial challenge. Steyn goes up, it's chaos in the air with the conditions and the players everywhere. Italy have it now on the halfway line.
This is taken back here.
Ioane is at the back of the ruck, plays scrum half. And Scotland are the defending team once more on halfway. It is Italy 15, Scotland 7, 20 seconds to the break, and Italy, you would feel, will just eat up a few phases here and kick it out and gratefully head for the sheds with an 8-point advantage. And they're going round the short side now, happy to just kill the clock. 5 seconds left. It goes back.
I've got time.
And it will be stabbed out. And that will be the half-time whistle signals from Ben O'Keefe, and it has been a really poor first half from Scotland's point of view, but a really effective one from Italy. 2 tries, well-worked tries from Lina and Menoncello scoring in either corner, and the boot of Garbisi has taken them to 15 points as well. Scotland have had 1 from Jack Dempsey in reply, but in truth and it's been a rather error-strewn first 40 minutes of the Six Nations for Scotland. At half-time at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome, it is Italy 15, Scotland 7.
The passion lives here.
Sports Sound Rugby.
The Six Nations.
It's over the line and he gets it down for a Scotland try.
From BBC Radio Scotland. The Saturday Show with Amy Irons and Stephen Mill.
We talk a lot about football on our show. Being from Maryhill, are you a Thistle fan?
Of course, I still go there and say that. I'm always back in Glasgow. Me and my two boys always got them taking a couple of Thistle games. I absolutely love it.
I am going to tell my dad that, who once played for Partick Thistle, that Robert Carlyle might have actually watched him play.
What was your dad's name?
David Irons.
Oh, aye. There you go.
You can tell your dad that Robert Carlyle knows who he is. He'll be so happy.
I'm blown away by that.
Listen to The Saturday Show.
Thank him for his service.
Next Saturday at 9 a.m. on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
Sports Sound Rugby on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Sports Extra with me, Andy Burke. Round 1 of the Six Nations, Italy versus Scotland, are at half-time here at the Stadio Olimpico. It's the Azzurri who have had the better of it so far. They've outscored Scotland by 2-1, and Italy leads by 15 points to 7 at the break. Thomas Duncan, Lisa Martin and Peter Wright have been describing the first half action. Tom English is with us also, and Tom, we said we hope to see Scotland come out the block, start well, take control, get a grip of this game. None of it's really happened, has it?
No, they've got no control over this game at all. They're losing the aerial contest hands down. The mistake count is through the roof. They've got loads of possession, enough territory. They're not doing anything with it. Conditions obviously are very, very difficult. Scotland haven't managed a line break. Italy have had 3. So Italy are playing the conditions a lot better than Scotland. And really, we've seen nothing. We've seen nothing of Scotland's go-to guys, either in the up front or behind the scrum. And its line-out is a lottery. But Scotland they look like they're sinking. They look like they're sinking fast here. It's, Italy looked like they were in a kind of vortex of penalty concession for about 10 minutes. And I thought at that point, and then Dempsey scored, and I thought, okay, Scotland might motor on now. Since then, Scotland have been giving away the penalties. Scotland have been knocking on. Scotland have looked vulnerable. So it's, of course, the conditions are appalling, but this is a really wretched Scotland performance so far.
Yeah, the rain is, I would say it's eased off ever so slightly just in the last few minutes since the half-time whistle went, but it has been absolutely torrential for much of that first half, and may well be the case in the second half, and Scotland are going to have to find a way to manage it. But Tom, we spoke in the build-up this week after Gregor Townsend named his team, and we thought it was bold and brave, particularly that back 3 selection, but that back 3 out there are struggling.
They are, and you could argue directly or indirectly that Italy's tries have come from the air, come from the pressure they've put on, and they are struggling. All 3 of them are struggling to deal with the high ball, and Italy have done their homework there. Would it be any better if you went with the established back 3? I'm not sure it would be. It's just that Italy are playing quite clinically, and Scotland are not. Scotland have had a couple of opportunities. They'd won a couple early on in the 22, and they didn't do anything with it. And then Italy's first attack, 4 or 5 minutes or whatever it was, the line a try, very clinical, spotted where the space was. Breck dinks it in behind and they score. Now that is clinical. That is the kind of stuff that Scotland have been talking about. That's what they need to do. But they're not doing it. It's the same old from Scotland. The wastefulness. It's not over. It's not over by any means. But this is a huge test of Scotland's mettle now. An enormous test of see what they're made of in a hostile environment, in poor conditions, against a team with their backs up. This is a big moment for Scotland, and you could argue big moment for Gregor Townsend as well, because if this game goes south, there will be an absolute crescendo to remove him from his position.
Peter Wright, how concerned are you? Scotland 8 points down at half-time, given what you've seen in that opening 40.
Yeah, pretty concerned. I think one, they're not adapting to the conditions, Andy. They're trying to play too much rugby sometimes. I can't think of an attacking up and under where they've had pressure on the catcher in the attack. I don't think they've done it. Italy have done it numerous occasions. When it's raining, it's always in the player's head that, the rain, my hands are going to be wet, it's going to be slippy. They start to doubt their ability when it comes to taking aerial kicks. So yeah, they've got to start, I just think, wising up. It's what we talked about when they played Argentina. They just kept playing the same way. When Argentina got the momentum, all of a sudden Scotland just kept playing the same way. Didn't think about nudging it deep into corners. The line out for both teams has been an absolute lottery. So don't be frightened to kick the ball deep into the Italian 22. Even Grubber kicking it to fine touch, and ask the Italian set piece to work and then try and compete against it. So I think they've just got to go back to basics a bit more. I would kick a bit more. Any kickable penalty, I'd be taking it. I'd be getting 3 points on the board. Because the one thing I think in that 40 minutes, Scotland have probably been dominant in territory and possession. They just haven't done very much with it, that's all. So if you can do that in the second half, Italy will always give away penalties in the last third of the park, because that's what they do. Kick your goals, win the game by scoring 5-6 penalties.
Scotland is 65% possession and 71% territory. And look what they have to show for it. It's a really sloppy Scotland performance. I think there's not a lot of aggression in it. There's not a lot of intent in it. It's a confusing 40 minutes from a team that felt that they've had that not cracked it, but that had a really good conversation in the group about what's holding them back. And it's like those conversations went in one ear and out the other.
It just looks like a deer in headlights at points as well, being like, this isn't supposed to be happening. This isn't what we've been working on for the past 2 weeks. We should be doing this, and they've scored X amount of points. But again, it comes back to that thing of when plan A isn't working, what is our plan B? And we just haven't yet found it. Finn Russell just appears to have gone missing at points today, and you really want the likes of him to step up and know, conditions are terrible. Right, it's going to be on my shoulders a bit more to put us and kick us into these areas and make it really messy and hard for Italy. But Paolo Garbisi is just winning that 10 battle at the moment.
The Menoncello try, I mean, it's beautifully taken and all the rest of it. But wow, it's a kick in the air. After conceding a penalty at the breakdown, and it's a high kick, and Dobie can't deal with it, and Lina does very, very well. And then it's a ball out the side, out the left wing, and Scotland, there's nobody home. And it's great. It's a great finish, but it's not a difficult finish. Not when they've done the work in the air, and Scotland are just torn apart there.
You've given Lamaro, who's a 6, who, no offence, Peter, forwards aren't really meant to be passing the ball that far. Put him under pressure. He's been given the time and space to not only pick the pass out, but also float it over the top. You've given him so much respect there to have the time and opportunity to do such a thing and get it out into Menoncello's hands. Go out there and put a hit on him.
Yeah, I think he should have been taking that up into contact, shouldn't he? He shouldn't have been given that pass. What a ridiculous thing to do as a forward. But that's the modern player now, isn't it? That is the modern player. And what Italy do very well in attack is they hold their width. And what Scotland does, what's happened? Scotland will go narrow in defence. But you watch that breakdown, the try for Menoncello. If you actually look at the breakdown, we've got pictures here now watching it. All the forwards honeypot towards it. So you've got about 8 or 9 Scotland players all within about 2 or 3 metres, maybe 4 metres either side of that contact, which then draws in Steyn for the wing because he has to step in because there's not enough width. And all they do, Menoncello holds his width. And it's the same for the first try. They just held their width there, and that kept the winger up, and then just a little grubber kick through. So they have to come up in that line. So they're just not reading the game particularly well. And I agree with you, Lisa. I think they've been thinking, this is what will happen. We'll dominate breakdown, we'll dominate the set piece, and we'll be able to do this, do that in the next thing. And all of a sudden the rains came, and it's just completely scuppered their plans.
They better wake up that they're in a game here, Scotland, because they've been very, very lackadaisical They haven't turned up physically. Mentally, they haven't turned up.
But Tom, they're playing like it's a dry day.
Yeah.
As soon as that rain come down, Townsend talked about in the pre-match interview about the rain, but he should have been thinking, you know what, this is going to have to change. We're going to have to change our mindset and our game plan here. We can't play the type of rugby we want to play under these conditions. When the conditions get better, you can go back to it. And that's what we've criticised them for in the past, is not having that other option when things aren't going.
Is there a case to press the emergency button and bring Hastings on for Russell?
Maybe not so early. I think initially I would probably get Ewan Ashman off. I think lineouts have been a bit ropey at best, and that's the one facet of his game that has always been a question mark for him. Both club and country is his percentage of lineout throwing. So maybe that there. Maybe give Finn Russell 5-10 minutes. Can we afford that though? That is another question. But you've got to give him a chance to try and fix this. If it's not, we've got Adam on the bench, we can get him on and change it all.
See, another Italian try and this could be done in these conditions, because that would be a hell of a lead in this rain.
Yeah, it certainly would. And guys, you know, I said a few minutes ago that the rain had eased off a little. Well, just right on cue, they opened back up again, and it's been an almighty downpour. I don't think this is going to ease off too much. So yeah, Scotland are going to have to find a way to stem this Italian tide. And Peter, the point Tom made there, you know, you can make excuses about why the line out might malfunction in difficult conditions, the handling, etc. But Scotland have, as Tom says, lost the collisions, and there's no real excuse for that other than that's the intensity you bring to the game, you bring to a test match, and they're just not bringing it right now.
Yeah, and interesting, when you play Italy, the one thing over all the years Italy have been involved in rugby, the one thing they bring to the game all the time is physicality. Even 20, 30 years ago when they weren't very good and you played against them, they were physical. They were absolutely unbelievably physical, and that's what they've brought to, and they've looked at that weather and went, you know what, there's not going to be a lot of fancy rugby getting played, so we keep our guys on our feet, keep the line speed high and make it really hard for the attack. And we've just not combated that well at all. The amount of collisions we've lost, the amount of ball carriers that have went in and have been driven backwards, and then you just look at that scrum, you know, I thought it was illegal, but they still dominated that scrum where they drove Scotland back 4 or 5 metres, and that sums up the physical battle. Scotland have been so second best in that, it's unbelievable, with a lot of guys that are quite fit. You know, Xander Fagerson, Schumann, they're physical guys. Grant Gilchrist, Jack Dempsey, these are the guys that are really, so you're looking at Williamson, Gregor Brown. I would get those guys on pretty quick, to be honest. I think those are the two that could make a difference, and I agree with sort of Lisa. Give Townsend maybe 10-12 minutes, see how the game's going, and if the rain's still pouring down, you bring Hastings on, and Hastings starts kicking the ball into corners and does that kicking game that I think you're going to have to play in the second half to get the victory.
And yet another problem. I mean, the graphic flashed up there about how Scotland, how poor they are in second halves of games against the top teams. We all know that. We hope that Scotland wouldn't be in a position that they're in now. They are. They're not a second half team. They haven't been a second half team against the top teams. They're going to have to be one now.
Yeah, they certainly are. Well, the Italian fans have got the scent of victory in their nostrils. They have been up for it. Every thunderous hit has been greeted by an equally thunderous roar from the fans here at the Stadio Olimpico. Just watching Gregor Townsend heading back up towards us in the stand, and he's looking very downcast at the moment. His coach is alongside him, and what a big 40 minutes this is for him. Big 40 minutes for Scotland. It might only be the opening weekend, but it's not an overstatement to say that their Six Nations hopes are resting on the outcome here. Can they turn this round? They trail Italy by 8 points, 15 points to 7. The home side leads. Scotland just making their way back onto the field, and now the Italian team reappear to a great reception from the fans here at the Stadio Olimpico. Big 40 minutes ahead for both sides. So let's hand back to our commentary team of Peter Wright, Lisa Martin and Thomas Duncan.
Thanks, Andy. The narrative of Scotland's Six Nations and perhaps the Gregor Townsend era will be written in this next 40 minutes or so of rugby. Either they will have come back from 8 points down to grind out a priceless win in difficult conditions in the bear pit of the Stadio Olimpico, or they will have lost their opening game against Italy, and the questions around the direction of this team and how much further they can go under Gregor Townsend and his leadership will all come back to the surface.
One of my mates is just texting me 40 minutes for Townsend to save his job, question mark. I mean, you might not be wrong.
That's a question that Scotland can only answer through coming back in this game. And then Lorenzo Cannoni's having a little picking on Ben White there, as Italy kind of made a meal of that restart.
See who he picked on. He let all the big guys run away and then he pushed Ben White, the weakest guy on the pitch.
Yeah, Scotland managing to drive Italy out there and get the line out just at the 22. So that is a good start in terms of first actions for Scotland, to get the ball just short of the 22 in Italy's half. Can they fix the line out? No. Overthrown straight to Giuliani, and then Italy line break here from Menoncello, steaming up over halfway. He's got loads of gas. Can he get the support? Round one tackle, hauled to the ground in a splash of puddles on the sodden surface, but Italy are up to Scotland's 22. And now the fullback Marin dancing forward. Garbisi is smashed by Jamie Dobie, and Italy now piling in, and Scotland get the blessed relief of a penalty with a shake of the head from Matt Fagerson, hands on hips, and Scotland's self-inflicted there again.
Again, it just comes down to our inability to secure our own set-piece ball, and it's just frustrating. We just can't seem to get any sort of currency in this game. We just seem to be our own worst enemy in terms of that, and Italy are just getting the rub of it all. They're just, regardless of the weather, they're still looking to offload, they're still looking to be ambitious.
Doesn't matter.
So the pitch must be close to being unplayable. We've seen it. They didn't realise how bad it was, but when you see them running there in the waters, boys are actually aquaplaning through the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely biblical stuff, and yeah, it was like Menoncello there as he rode the tackles. It was like he's stomping through a marsh almost with the water that was coming off the pitch. Scotland have kicked themselves just over halfway, but another overthrown line out from Ewan Ashman, and you wonder how long he can last. Not just him, it's a team effort, but that's two overthrows in the opening minutes of this second half, and George Turner surely will be getting ready to come on soon.
Didn't even jump there. There was no movement, there was no jump, so they've obviously just lost it completely.
Is that like a call thing, or is that like a skill execution thing?
I think they've all lost it in the forward. So rather than just try and calm everybody, bring them in, chat to them, guys have just went off on their own thing. And obviously he's throwing the ball in thinking that the call, the trigger's not been done. The guys hadn't even done any movement. So I think Ashman's probably lost it massively. The big problem is you bring George Turner on, it's much better. His biggest weakness is his line out throwing as well. That's him getting warmed up now, George Turner.
Yeah, he's getting warmed up, but Scotland got the penalty there, and it is kicked into 22, and Ewan Ashman needs to take a breath. He needs to calm himself down and make this throw. It's been called.
Cut it down, cut the line.
And it's won by Italy at the front. He read it. It's pawed back. Scotland are trying to drive them back over their own line now, but Italy stand firm. 15-7 in Italy's favour, 3 minutes into the second half. But Scotland cannot buy a line-out win. Cannot secure it for love nor money. 3 in the opening 3 minutes of this second half have gone to ground, and that's without even mentioning the catalogue of miscues and drops in the first half as Italy box kick down the pitch. Jamie Dobie takes it on the left wing. Water just oozing out of the pitch. It's a brilliant run from Dobie before Nicotera stops him just short of the 22. Worked now to Xander Fagerson, then Gilchrist. Squirms out the back, but Ben White picks it up sharply. Now Tuipulotu tackled the 22. Scotland move it towards the far side. Cummins involved. It's White scoops it up and gives it to Darge. Dempsey goes in to clear out Zolani. Now Xander Fagerson, strong carry from the tight head prop. Scotland into Italy's 22. They've been wasteful in this game when they have got into this position so far. Can they make more of it? Darge taken on the ankle by Brex, and no gain there for Scotland. Cam heads need to prevail here for the Scots as Ashman carries well over Gilchrist and into midfield to a Pilotu, and it's good work at the ruck from Giuliani again. and he puts his hands in there. Referee tells him to leave it, but no punishment as Schoeman takes. Now it's White, pops to Fagerson. We've barely seen the Scotland backs in this game. Perhaps a sign of the conditions here as Scotland just keep it tight, keep coming around the corner. Ben White goes for a snipe, and it was offside against Italy, so Scotland penalty. And does Finn Russell think about taking the points here?
Definitely, I would be taking the points. I certainly want to be having a line out, that's for sure.
Definitely not a line out, dear. Please don't put us through that pain yet again. I don't actually think during that phase of play we got into a 15-metre line. I think we're becoming really, really predictable. At one point I think Italy are just standing off and letting us just have the ruck to ourselves,
which makes the offside a crazy decision from the Italy defenders as Gregor Townsend goes across to have a look at a replay of something in the coaching box. But
to be fair, the last line out throw was fine. Throw was fine. They just read it really, really well. They just defended that really well. That's nothing down. That's the problem. Everybody thinks it's always the hooker when it's not. They've actually defended lineouts. The first two, the second and third lineout when they stole them, they're just a great reading, a great defensive effort. So it's no doubt about the throws yet. 3 in a row where he's thrown them over the top is just.
Here's Russell just outside the 22, fairly central, and he comfortably strokes it between the sticks. So an important 3 points for Scotland as Finn Russell makes it Italy 15, Scotland 10. It is a 5-point game, and this is what Scotland need to do. That wasn't a glamorous passage of play, but they forced the error from Italy, and they've managed to punish them with 3 points.
And now it's going to be a dogfight. That's all they're going to do. It's going to be a dogfight. Get Williamson on, get Gregor Brown on, because these are the guys you need in this kind of weather. These are the guys that will definitely get you yardage.
And that restart has gone out, but Jamie Dobie has been told he stepped out of the pitch rather than the restart itself. Oh, it's careless from Dobie. He's just
stepped out.
Yeah.
He's touched the line.
Yeah, I think these back 2 studs maybe just done. Again, downside of playing in what can only be described as a bog currently.
Yeah.
And they'll abandon the game because they'll be frightened to with TV and when do you play, when do you then, well, you get to 60 minutes, the result stands anyway, so.
Ask me at 59 if I want this to get cancelled or not.
Lamaro takes the line out for Italy. Oh, lovely hands inside to Cannone, who bumps off Dobie and gets to 5 metres short as Italy look for quick ball. Fusco can't get it at the moment. The forwards line up. Zuliani, the number 7, carries for Italy. Good Scotland defence initially. Work it towards the posts. Centre of the pitch. Ewan Ashman and Jack Dempsey getting stuck in there. Brex with a carry in midfield. Fusco's going to come back towards the far side. Zuliani, he's held up. Scotland got 3 bodies in there, and they're told to release as the tackle is complete, according to the referee. But Scotland get the penalty. Holding on from Zuliani, and that's a good defensive set from Scotland.
The referee's saying release to the Scottish players, so they did, and then he still gives penalty to Scotland. That doesn't make sense. You're asking him to release because you're saying the tackle's complete, but then you still allow the guy. So if the guy's on the ball, he has to release as well because it's part of the tackle. Doesn't make sense.
I didn't see a knee on the ground either when they were holding him up there. But regardless, Scotland have the penalty. 15-10, Italy leads. That's well worked move from Italy off the line out initially, and in the end Scotland managed to get enough men back. But this game it's just going to be a dogfight now, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is going to be. It's going to be a case of who's going to manage this as much as we can, but it seems like our friend the TMO wants to have a bit of a moment.
So Ben O'Keefe has been told of a potential high tackle here. So
it's against Scotland because it was Italy that had the ball.
And who's it against?
It's against Scotland on 7 blue.
So Zuliani thinks the officials perhaps think that this is a high tackle. I think from Ashman on Zuliani. We're getting another look at this here.
I'll just get a view from the other side.
That doesn't look like any, from that angle, it doesn't look like any contact. He's trying to get it from the other side. No!
It's gone shoulder than ridden up, I think, more than anything.
I don't know what you guys think, but that's a rugby incident maybe for me. He's put the shoulder around the...
At worst it's a penalty.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a card there, but I don't.
Yeah, I think, like you say, it's a penalty. I wouldn't say that's anything else. He could obviously try to get lower, of course, but the initial contact's gone through the shoulder and then risen up into the chin, maybe. But
it's almost chest on ball, and then they sort of.
Yeah.
For Demon, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
now look, this could go anyway.
Yeah,
okay, we're going to penalise this.
It's kind of shoulder on shoulder, and then it rides up, but there's not any force in it or anything, and it's not on head for any meaningful weight.
So we've checked the foul play. The player is upright, so the tackler is at fault. However, there's not a high degree of danger, so we go back to the penalty for Italy.
So the penalty will be reversed, and this is important because this is eminently kickable for Garbisi.
And I think he'll take the points as well. They're not going to gamble to go in because those 3 points takes them 8 points ahead again. So just that's more than a score ahead is just gamey chest now, isn't it?
100%. It's a sensible decision. It's a mature decision to make. As Scotland, you've got to score a try plus more.
And Ewan Ashman is having a bit of a nightmare whether you can't pin all the line out woes on one man, but that was probably that's a harsh decision or not. We'll split opinion. People will have their own views, but it just seems for him at the moment, whatever he does turns to dust.
The second rows will be throwing him under the bus as well, saying no, the lift was fine, it's all down to the throw. It's called self-preservation.
Bang in front of the sticks, Garbisi, as Arain continues to chuck down, and of course he slots it right in front of the posts, and it's back to an 8-point game as it was at the break after 49 minutes. Italy 18, Scotland 10, and it's out to 2 scores now. Crucially, it just seems for every time Scotland get a foothold back in this game, Italy just come straight back at them, and Ewan Ashman is now replaced. And now the restart has been kicked out on the full. Errors compounding errors, and this is a familiar feeling for those who've watched Scotland over the last few years. Darcy Graham is also on for Scotland.
So let's pouring with rain. Ball's not getting past first receiver. Tell you what we'll do. Let's bring a winger on. Let's change the winger. What is the point? Get Hastings on.
I'll be interested to see if he's coming for Dobie. I kind of maybe see it because Darcy maybe offers you a bit more physicality and around the breakdown, maybe chasing after kicks, getting shots in, getting up in the air. I can maybe see it from that angle of point of view. Granted, Jamie Dobie has done nothing wrong, but maybe this is more of a game for the likes of a Darcy Gray, who can, be a bit more of a terrier around this sort of bit.
Can be a rascal on the pitch.
Or maybe just produce a bit of magic. He did it against Italy last time after a year ago when Italy came roaring back into the game to level it, and then his moment of magic got Hugh Jones' second try, and they went on to win it by 12 points. It's
both sides of the scrum.
Yes, Italy got the ascendancy there. I think Fagerson was under lots of pressure, started to drive around and then collapsed down, and once it collapses down, if you've got the pressure on, you tend to get the result, the penalty for you, and that's exactly what happened. Probably Xander Fagerson, probably the worst game he's played for Scotland for a long time. You normally just get a lot out of him, but not much today.
He doesn't seem to be having the same impact around the park as well. He's not carrying as much as usual as well.
So Italy, penalty kicked deep into Scotland's half, just over the 22, and they have an 8-point advantage with 51 minutes on the clock. And
Stay there, Italy.
Third try for the Italians could be fatal to Scotland's hopes in Rome as they secure their own line out crucially, and George Turner trying to disrupt at the ruck, but Italy work it on the short side, and it's making inroads down that side before Fusco comes back to the near side, but
round the neck. Turner, yeah, I thought that.
So neck roll, penalty Scotland. Scotland keep coming up with these penalties, but at some point as they kick themselves up the pitch they need to make more of them.
They just need to back it up with something. Like you say, they've done the hard work here to defensively put them under pressure, or obviously get a bit of a neck roll here, just spotted by the officials, but they do all that good work, but then they end up messing up a set piece or giving the ball really easily back to Italy again, and it's then back to square one again.
You go back to that Italian line out. The weather's awful. Scotland don't put a guy up, pressure the throw, make him throw it straight. If he throws it straight, you've got a chance because it's slippy, but they're just giving them whereas you watch Italy, they're competing just about every single line out because they know they've got Scotland under pressure.
They're just reacting. They're getting set first. They're getting there. They've got that real want and desire to mess up. Scotland don't have that in the forwards.
Scotland with a quick one at the line out at the front and get it away and avoid the hazard of the lift as Ben White
He's onside this
is looking to kick. Goes high over the 10. Italy will compete, and Laina has spilled that one, and it's come off him and gone out on the far side.
See, that's nonsense. He said Darcy Graham gets blocked with the 9. Well, if he's going to contest, why is he no in there? He's just running backwards. I think that's poor refereeing for Ben O'Keefe.
It's fine.
Yeah, Scotland were claiming for the obstruction penalty that Italy got earlier, but it will just be the line out after Laina, who has been good. Certainly in the first half under the high ball. Made a mistake there, but again the front of the line out is pawed away by Italy, but Scotland will get another chance. But Italy just know now that Scotland are going to try and play it safe and get it to the front, and they're just putting the man up and they're making it a complete nightmare as George Turner now has the task of throwing in.
Gregor Brown's on now as well, which I think is good.
And Cummings gets a hand on that one and it breaks, and Zuliani tried to boot it, but this is almost farcical conditions in Rome now, is a sodden pitch with every body that hits it just spurting out water left, right and centre as it continues to absolutely pour with rain. And it's dropped now by Italy, and Darcy Graham has popped up with the ball. Scotland have it in Italy's 22, and Dempsey shows for it. Steps one before he's taken round the ankles by Ferrari. And Scotland just playing it short. Matt Fagerson drives on, and Ben White to Schoeman now, and it's all so messy. But Scotland making yards here in front of the post. Penalty comes, and there are bodies all over the pitch. It's become a bit of a mud bath in the Stadio Olimpico, and it is a dogfight. As Ben O'Keefe says, we have to take some time off here for an injury, but it's a complete scrap, a dogfight now. Not something that Scotland have been accustomed to, and it's not something you would say is their strength, but can they dig it out here?
I think they've replaced all the stewards around the pitch with lifeguards. I think it's that wet. I mean, you just see it. Somebody ends up face down in a ruck. You have to blow it up pretty quick.
I think I can actually hear them running as well. You can actually hear the splashing, which is, I'm not entirely sure if there's a water that's inside the boot or outside the boot, to be fair, but there's got to come a point where they've got to look, is there any bodies of water that could become a dangerous? Because as much as we laugh and joke about, someone getting caught face down in a ruck, that could become a serious health and safety problem.
Yeah, and it's there is literally water now lying on the pitch in front of the Italian posts.
Just
see a shot of the.
But they'll push it to 60 minutes. If they'll play till 60, and if they abandon the game, because after 60 the guys will not want to abandon the game, because then that would be the result would stand, and at the moment obviously Scotland would lose.
So Scotland's in a hole, 8 minutes, 8 points I should say, behind Italy, which was the gap at half-time. 3 points apiece in the second half, as we see a shot of Blair Kinghorn, the 24th man, wearing one of those ponchos alongside Rory Sutherland, who was playing in the A game last night, as it's which finished 24-all, and they're got the ponchos on as they try and shelter from the conditions, but there is no hiding from the absolutely torrential rain that continues to chuck down, as Manuel Zuliani of Benetton, who was the man of the match in the win over Australia in the autumn, is back on his feet, and now we're going to have another check here to see if there was any
so you're going to look at the
foul play.
16 purple.
George Turner.
Clean out on the blue player with the white headgear.
Okay, so we're looking to see if the player is wrapping and then the timing of the clean out. If you put on the big screen, make a decision.
I can confirm there is head contact.
Okay.
So George Turner, Zuliani is over the ball, and then he goes in with the shoulder.
No arm wrap, that's going to be the problem. I think if he tried to wrap there, I think it would have maybe been a rugby incident. But the fact that he's no wrap, that's probably a red card. That could be a red.
That, Lisa, to me, is lazy.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to go in here and make a bit of an impact because it's, gives me a really good stat on the plaque at the end of the game. But you're there, you could make it a little bit better, but it's one of those things, it could go either way. Like, there is a bit of a wrap with the left arm, right arm is lazy.
So we're going to yellow card this.
Again, where's he supposed to go? With his shoulder and his head and that to
16.
Contest that ruck.
So George Turner, it's not been a good day for Scotland's hookers. Ewan Ashman struggled at the line out.
I don't believe there's a wrap as he comes in to make contact. So it's yellow card and off-field review.
George Turner is off, and it'll get reviewed in the bunker. So Scotland down to 14 for at least 10 minutes, and it's the no wrap that they were talking about there, Peter.
Yeah, I think if he maybe wrapped, he'd have maybe got a fairer hearing, but that could be upgraded to a red.
Okay, is there
I thought he had time to wrap.
It's lazy.
It just almost felt like I'm just going to flop into him almost, and there's not a huge amount of force in it, but...
Time on.
It looks like the drills you do with the tackle cylinders. You're like, I'm going to dive from really far away and hit this really, really hard, but again, legalities of it, you have to make an attempt with your arms to wrap rather than just leading with a shoulder.
So it's kicked off the pitch by Italy as they got that penalty for the foul play, and Italy's 8-point advantage, 55 minutes on the clock, and Scotland down to 14. George Turner in the sin bin. It may become a 20-minute red. We will see about that as Italy maul it, and they have just done the basics. So much better than Scotland in this game up to minute 55 as they get towards the 10-metre line and set it up for the scrum half, who is Alessandro Fusco. It's a box kick, newly charged down there. Darcy Graham with a watchful eye on it. Lina bats it back, but Scotland have it. Offloaded to Dempsey, and he tries to wriggle out of a tackle and stay inside the touchline on the far side as well. He's managed to do it. Ben White into Xander Fagerson. Looks like it's going to be another long performance from the Scotland tight head in terms of his minutes. Often has to go well beyond the hour mark, and sometimes the full 80 as well, as Scotland's kick and Lina has just clung on to the ball. Italy on their own 10, right on the far side touchline. Counter ruck is good, says the referee, and Matt Fagerson drives in on Fusco, the scrum half, and he's been swallowed up. But Italy have managed to keep the ball on their side of the ruck. Such a messy game in foul conditions in Rome. Italy 18, Scotland 10. As it's set up again, and Italy will happily just kick their way down the field here and put the pressure back onto Scotland and contest this duel as Lina knocks it on and it squirms forward. It will be Scotland.
It's off his knee.
It's come off his knee, says the referee, but it will be Scotland line out rather than scrum. And Gregor Townsend watching on. Huge next 24 minutes for the Scotland head coach and his team have just not looked, and conditions obviously playing a part, but it's the same for both teams. Not looked fluid, looked error-strewn, looked a bit lost, as if they don't know where to turn. Can they dig it out from this difficult position?
Yeah, I think they just need to find a way to get a bit of a hook into this game. They've really struggled to find that hook and then compound it with more and more good things.
Maybe not a bad thing, because Fagerson's thrown in now.
Yeah, Matt Fagerson throws in, and Cummings is
best line it.
batted it back, and Scotland have the ball from their own line out, which has not been the case more often than not in this game. It's Ben White who's going to kick. It looks like it's stopped raining in Rome, but the pitch is completely saturated with water. Brilliant take from Darcy Graham, and Scotland have the ball in Italy's half, but they've got a long way to go still, and they're going to give it to Russell, who's going to put boot to ball. Ioane challenges, he's taken it, and he almost looked like he was going to weave his way through here, but instead Nico Terra will carry forward towards the halfway line. Another example of Italy's ability to do the basics, although that kick through wasn't the best, and Russell will pick up and return it into Italy's 22. Caught by Marin and kicked down the field into Scotland's 22. Well, that's taken a horrible bounce right on its end towards the posts, and Hugh Jones is back there, and he clears with a right foot, and that will go out of the pitch just round about the halfway line, and Italy will take that. Hugh Jones, it's like one of the first times I've said his name in this game. Scotland backs just haven't been involved really.
No, they've just... Yeah, of course, we'll keep harping on about the weather and things, but it doesn't mean they can't step up into different positions and get their hands on the ball, because they can be dangerous. They are physical players. It's that thing of you need to go hunting for the ball rather than waiting for it to come to you. But I mean, I think that kick chase and the second kick by Finn Russell there kind of epitomises where Scotland are in the game. You had three backs running out, all looking at each other, being like, are you going to do something? Am I doing something? Is it your ball? Take some ownership.
Well, the new Italy hooker Tommaso Di Bartolomeo doesn't get his line out right in conjunction with his forwards, and Scotland win it and clear, and Ioane under pressure, and he's melted by Stein this time, and that's good scrapping from Scotland as they dive on the loose ball, and Stein turns scrum half for Scotland, gets it now to Matt Fagerson inside the 22. Big moments these as we almost hit the hour mark in Rome. Scotland trailing by 8 points in their Six Nations opener. It's knocked forward by Gregor Brown as he drove forwards, and it will be a scrum to Italy, and that has summed up Scotland's game. A couple of good moments and then an error. Gregor Brown with grass all over his face as he tried to plough Scotland up the pitch. He's allowed it to squirm out the back door. It's a knock on.
The good thing is the pitch is wet, but it's standing up to the rigours. It's not digging up or anything, so that's the good thing. But it's still, if it'd been like that at the start of the game, they probably wouldn't have started the game.
I wouldn't like to be Lazio or Roma playing on this next week. That's all I'd say. The scrum is being readied, and Rory Darge is withdrawn for Scotland. And we are into the final quarter. And traditionally, in recent times, Scotland's weakest portion of games against the big sides. They have won just 3 of their last 9 tests against Tier 1 opposition and lost 3 in a row since the defeat by France at the end of the last Six Nations, losing to New Zealand and Argentina in the autumn. And Italy have done well to win their scrum and exit their 22 just by the ferocity of their carrying and Fusco box kicks.
No shoulders on.
And Stein goes up and takes it really well, but it's spilled out as he came back down. Advantage Italy, and it will be a scrum to the Azzurri, and they just feel that they're getting every ricochet, every break of the ball at the moment, and they have simply done the basics better thus far.
There's at moments you look at, obviously Azzurri are very known for their passionate, and they're celebrating every single decision that's going their way. Scotland at points have looked really dejected and really flat in kind of succumbing to what's currently happening. There's been no real desire or want to try to change the momentum of this game or the way it's currently unfolding. You want to find that catalyst, and at the minute I couldn't tell you who in Scotland wants to be that catalyst, wants to take the game by the scruff of the neck and make a change or make a difference.
Alessandro Garbisi is on to join his brother Paolo. As a half-back combination, Fusco's work is done as Italy use their bench, and the scrum is wheeling round, and Italy have the drive on and they have the penalty advantage. They're dismantling Scotland at the set piece in Rome, and the penalty is given, and the celebrations from Italy, they are full of confidence. They know what they're doing, and they are putting Scotland under the caution. Ewan Ashman is obviously back on.
Yeah, it's that stopping the momentum again, isn't it? Italy's scrum's dominant at the moment. Their breakdown's probably just slightly better than Scotland, so it's how does Scotland arrest that sort of dominance that they've got, and giving away penalties is certainly not the way to do it. But that was a good scrum from Italy. They really, again, Fagerson was under a lot of pressure there.
Okay, time off.
Italy, an Italian team in this position, maybe even 5-6 years ago, you'd almost be waiting for them to implode. Or
the degree of danger isn't high.
So George Turner will stay a yellow card, so he'll be able to come back onto the pitch in 2 minutes 40 seconds, and boy, does Scotland need the full complement back after his sin binning.
It's interesting, the degree of danger wasn't bad, but he was still carried off and with an HIA, so surely it was reasonably bad.
Italy win the line out, and it's set up. Italy told to use it. Garbisi gives it to Brex, who just puts the head down and trucks on. Alessandro Garbisi uses his forwards round the corner. He's still going towards the far side. Oh, it's dropped. Scotland advantage, and this is where Scotland often come alive in the counter-attack and the loose ball, but instead it's they who are unable to pick it up and the errors come, but the advantage was being played. So it will be a scrum to Scotland. 17 and a half minutes left. They trail by 8 points, and they need some sort of inspiration. Something from needs to produce something.
Is it at this point you start thinking, looking to the bench here, because we need something to change, we need an impact? So is this now the time you think, George Horne, we need you here, we need you to come off and provide a little electricity? And again, is this time to pull off Finn Russell as well?
Well, it's the changes are indeed coming for Scotland. 4 of them: Max Williamson, Nathan Macbeth, George Horne and Elliot Miller-Mills are all coming on.
He wanted a substitute he made there, but the 4th official wouldn't have let them on, and Scotland manager's David Edge, I think it is having an argument with the 4th official.
Scotland secure the scrum, and then they clear it downfield along the greasy surface. More than greasy at this stage, it has to be said, as it goes up in the air from Italy. And this is an important take from Russell. He's done well, the Scotland 10 on his 90th cap. He's barely figured in this game, as Hugh Jones is tackled, and Alessandro Garvisi with the attempt to drip doesn't manage it. Scotland in their own half, short of the 10. They work it in towards the middle of the pitch. Matt Fagerson sets up, and they're going to kick again, Scotland. And the box kick has been their go-to option from Ben White. As it goes in, George Horne's waiting to come on. It's dropped by Ioane. Did that go backwards? Ioane is now driven over the top of by the Scotland players, picked up by Ashman. Ashman lays it back, and now can Scotland come alive? Taken to the line, and the pass is behind Tom Jordan on the outside and goes straight into touch. And it just sums up Scotland's endeavours in this match. Can't capitalise on the error from Ioane. Here come the substitutes.
Again, we've put ourselves in a really good position territorially. We've managed to get a mistake out of Monty Ioane, but it's then I'm not entirely sure why Hugh Jones is thinking, I'm going to go for a double miss pass here. Use the hands. Get it go hand to hand. You'll have a 2-on on the edge. You've got a physical guy in Tom Jordan. Let him come off the edge and we retain ball. We need to be able to retain ball in Italy's half, and we haven't done that quite yet.
If you keep ball, you'll get a penalty, and that's what they need. They need to get a penalty to get within 1 score. At the moment, they're 2 scores away, and Italy are happy to keep it like that. But get the penalty, force the mistake, force the penalty, get the 3 points, and get yourself within a score.
It's that thing we talked about pre-match. Does Scotland have another gear, another way of playing? They're just looking to be ambitious, stretch that to the touchline. It doesn't come off, and Italy now have ball in their own half, and they have no interest in being adventurous. They don't need to. They've done such good work. They've done the basics. They've got themselves into a position where they're 8 points in front with 15 minutes left, and they do not need to force this game. Scotland have taken it from the kick forward by Italy. They're just over the halfway line, and George Horne is on at 9 now for Scotland. It's set up again, and the box kick goes in, and Stein competes, and Tuipulotu has managed to dive on the loose ball. Scotland have it short of the 22. That's better. Can they now build some pressure? Italy's defence has been strong in this game, and they compete at the ruck here, and he's in at the side, it looks like, but the referee doesn't blow the whistle against Mirko Spagnuolo, the replacement prop. And now the penalty is gone Scotland's way after a knock-on, and Lamaro, the captain, walks away from that ruck, and this is a penalty from Scotland. So do they kick this, Peter, as you said, and then come again?
Oh no, they're going for the corner. Kick the 3 points, get yourself within a score, because you're still going to have to come back down and score anyway. So
it's bang in front of the sticks as well. Russell's not going to miss that.
Easy-ish 3 points, yeah.
You've got to think, the next opportunity they get to be down here, is that next penalty going to be in such a kickable position? You're then putting a lot of pressure on Finn Russell as well to, be able to make that if it's out on the 5 metre line when it gets 7-8 minutes in.
And the one thing it's not worked is the line out, and we're going to go for a line out. Maybe a lot of averages says we should get a decent line out at least once in the game.
Yeah, and these are the moments we talked about with Scotland, the decision making under pressure in big moments. If it comes off, then fair play to them. If it doesn't, we'll be back talking about the same things again.
It's always that. Is it a good decision? Well, wait and see. If they score, it's a great decision. If they don't score, then wasted opportunity.
They have to score now. Having made the call, they cannot afford the gift possession away here to Italy, as they've done so cheaply from the line out, admittedly in difficult conditions, but Italy have still managed to win the bulk of their own ball. George Turner's back on after his yellow card, so they're back up to the full complement of players. Scotland's trailing by 8, and they do secure the line out through Scott Cummings, and the maul is set up. George Turner has it at the back, and the backs are piling in. Is that a help or a hindrance? We're about to find out. They've gone for it, they've committed everything to it. George Turner has the ball under his Oxstar.
Can't change his mind though.
It's coming down, it's away to George Horne, who goes into the corner, he slides over, and the try is given, and Scotland go berserk. Is that the moment that changes the complexion of this game as we enter the closing stages? Scotland hit back, George Horne with an important score, and it's Italy 18, Scotland 15. 3-point game, conversion to come from the touchline.
George Horne had so much work to do. Obviously Scotland had pumped 13 into that maul, so if the referee's then asking him to use it, there are very limited options. So he's done so well just using his evasiveness and his pace to get into that corner, and actually using the ground to his advantage.
The wetness, yeah.
I know, dive from 5, I heard that's always what you do.
Probably fortunate that it was as wet as it was to let him skate across.
It's a superb finish from George Horne, the little Glasgow live wire. And Finn Russell to make it a 1-point game. It's right on the touchline, the right hand side, curls it with the right foot. Does it come in? It doesn't look like it has. It's not come round enough for Finn Russell. It is Italy 18, Scotland 15, 3-point game, 12 and a half minutes left, but Scotland have life.
Yeah, so it was a good decision in the end. It was almost well defended, and that's where, for me, that's where George Horne's out in his own as a scrum half. Ben White wouldn't have done that, not because Ben was not a good player, just that's not his type of game to snipe like that, and George sees his opportunities. A try scoring machine, knows how to score.
Glasgow Warriors record try scorer George Horne, as Dempsey takes the restart and he takes it on a little run, eventually stopped, and now it's basics for Scotland. Can you execute in the torrid conditions, under pressure, with the game on the line, the championship on the line? As the kick goes in, it's loose, dived on by Di Bartolomeo. So Scotland scrum because it comes off the referee, so that's an important moment. A bit of luck that Scotland needs. Scrum, and it's a big one. Just getting another look at that finish, Peter. Just gets in.
Yeah, it's good. He just sees a little gap and just goes for it, and just he dives. That's the key, isn't it? Because he's dived, he's low, he's sliding across the grass. Hard for the Italian guys then to get any force and knock him into touch.
It's tense moments in Rome. A 3-point game. Italy have led for all of it, and their captain Michele Lamaro on his 50th cap is replaced and applauds the Rome crowds. Is he going to be captaining his side to a win at the end? In a moment, it looks like it. It's Scotland scrum on halfway. It's a big one, and it's even. Both sides get a drive in, and now Scotland advance, and no penalty coming. It goes to Russell. Swipe of the right boot, and he kicks it just too far, and the mark is called, and Marine takes it quickly, and he's putted it down to the 10, and Russell collects and puts the up and under into the sky. The chase isn't great, but it's Darcy Graham who makes the tackle around the legs. A little claim for obstruction. Italy set it up. They go to the forwards. Di Bartolomeo, and Giuliani goes over and protects ball, and penalty to Italy. No release from Elliot Miller-Mills at the ruck, and he went in to compete illegally, and Italy and a get out of jail free cards.
It's just that misplaced effort again. He's trying to make an impact, make a difference, try and create a turnover, but it's not the time and it's not the place. Like, the opportunity will arise. You have to have a bit of patience in that.
And all they're going to do there, Lisa, they're just going to kick it. They're going to put a box kick in, or so you're going to get a chance to get the ball back. It's just props being stupid. That's just what we're like.
You wouldn't see Tens doing that.
Yeah, it's just Elliot Miller-Mills desperate to do something, but In doing so, he's put his team in bother. Garbisi is Paolo Garbisi, the fly half. Looks like he's taking a sore one. He's moving a bit gingerly for Italy, but he's going to continue for now. Well taken by Ruzza at the line out, the second row. And Italy are mauling this about 6 metres into the Scotland half, just 5 metres in from the touchline on the far side, and Alessandro Garbisi kicks high, and Darcy Graham, a diminutive figure, competes with Laina, and it's breaks for Italy, and they've won back the ball, and now they're on the threshold of the 22. Strong carry from Favretto, and now they're into the 22, and Italy trying to come to life here. Inside ball is brilliant for Brex, and he breaks through momentarily before being felled. Italy seeking the score that could win them this game, but they have knocked on at the back of the ruck, and Scotland have the scrum. They trail by 3, 9 minutes left at the Stadio Olimpico.
And that's the thing, because of the conditions, you know, if you defend with discipline, you're potentially going to force an error. So that's why you pick the battles. Don't just keep going for the ball thinking that you've got to win it at every opportunity. In this day, the weather conditions, you're going to get a chance pretty quickly.
You okay?
Gonzalo Quesada, a man looking for his fourth Six Nations victory as the head coach of Italy, the Argentine who played much of his career in France with Stade Francais. Italy had an unforced error there to give Scotland the scrum, but they're still going to have to exit out their own 22. Scotland got a long way to go as they trail by 3 points with 8.5 minutes left. They're going to need to find some inspiration and some field position first and foremost. There's a break here for some treatment, and Amaro's going to come back on by the look of it.
Ironic that the referee shouting water off like the rain we've had. The thing is, a penalty doesn't win you the game, but would we take a draw? Probably, yeah.
Given that
you
performance,
take a draw before a defeat, to be fair. But it's when they get that scenario, a couple of minutes to go, they get a penalty in front of the post. Do they go for the 3 points to go to a draw, or do they kick it in the corner, try and win it? That's the sort of decision you don't want to have to make.
I think they'd go for the corner, would be what I would guess, but we'll see if that materialises. Scrum, it's solid from both sides. George Horn gets it away to Russell, who's going to clear it, and he puts it high, and he's going to try and make Italy compete for this. Ioane has time though. He's tackled by Tuipulotu, and now Italy are going to try and run it out through Laina dancing laterally across the pitch. He's tackled just short of the 10 metre line. It is now through the hands, and then Garbisi uses the boot, and it's a really good kick along the sodden grass which skips out just inside Scotland's 22. Play the percentages, keep Scotland in their own half, and Italy win this game.
There seems to be a lot of frustration just around the inconsistency of obstruction when they're trying to chase with the kick chase, and it just seems like Scotland are getting really agitated and annoyed about it. Decision's made, move on. Find another way. You've got to play the referee if he's not going to give it to you, and he hasn't given it all game really.
They're becoming very Irish, aren't they, and they're just questioning the referee constantly over and over again. They're Bundy-Aki in the referee.
We'll let Tom English respond to that on behalf of his nation at half-time, at full-time. As
from the arm first.
It's a penalty to Scotland, taking the arm in the air by Federico Ruzza. And he is unhappy with the call, to say the least.
Yeah, he hooks the arm, and then his arm slides up, and then he gets the ball. So it is a penalty. You've got to go for the ball. Can't touch the arm at all.
This is a chance for Scotland to get themselves some territory. Russell kicks just short of halfway, as we see it again here. Yeah, he does take the arm.
It's the Scotland player that actually scoops it back with his own hand. It isn't the Italian player touching the ball at all.
It's Ruzza, the towering second row, who was infringing at the line out. We've got 6.5 minutes left in Rome. Italy 18, Scotland 15. And change made at full-back. Leonardo Marina's off for Lorenzo Pani.
This is an argument about having Hastings on the bench. He's not on the pitch. There's 6 minutes to go. What's the point of having him forward?
Oh, well worked to the line out as it went to Brown and back to Turner, but it was forwards. So it doesn't pay off for Scotland. Scrum to Italy on halfway, and they will be able to eat up more of the clock.
Yeah, it was a fair decision. It was forward. But yeah, so if you're not going to bring him on and give him 20 minutes, then why have him on the bench?
That's the thing about having a 10 on a bench. You want them on the bench to make an impact, to change the game, you've got to give them enough time to do so. 5-6 minutes? What can Adam Hastings, what can any 10 do with that amount of game time?
This is a massive scrum. The rain is back on in Rome. It's scarcely stopped. And Scotland's hopes in the Six Nations slipping away in terms of championship contention, you feel already, if they're to go down in the opener. Hard to see how they come back from this. Hard to see how Gregor Townsend comes back from this, unless they can produce a miracle in the closing stages. Big scrum from Italy, but the referee says it's wheeled round. There is Simone Ferrari, the man whose work at the scrum is done. And it's the Italy team all out from the bench. They are desperate for this victory. It would set them up wonderfully. They go to Dublin in round 2, and you have to say, you wouldn't normally say an Italy side would fancy their chances in Dublin, but if they get the win done here, the way Ireland performed and with their long list of injuries, they will fancy it. As Alessandro Garbisi, the scrum half, gets on his haunches and feeds the ball into the scrum. It is messy, but Garbisi picks up and gives to his brother Paolo. He boots it into the air with the left foot. Crucial take from Stein. He runs and is wrapped up in his own half. Scotland need to go the length here. George Horne offloads the pass, and Italy drive back, and the ball is squeezed forward, and Italy have the scrum, and that might be the game. Still time for Scotland, just over 4 minutes left, but Italy with a chance now in field position to just increase the pressure and perhaps get a penalty of their own and kick themselves 6 clear.
That's what you do. You get the message on, keep the ball in the scrum. They have the ascendancy in the scrum. Scrummage the penalty, kill the clock, kick the 3 points, and go back up the pitch again.
Garbisi rubbing his hands. He's loving life. Italian fly half, they have been not spectacular, but they have been effective. They have played the conditions. Their set piece has been the more solid scrum and line out, and at the moment they have managed to kick 1 extra goal, which is the difference as the scrum drives forward. Advantage. There is the penalty, and that might be the game for Italy. They're going to play it. It's knocked forward by Minincello, but they'll come back for the penalty, and Garbisi is surely going to line this up to kick them 6 clear. It's central. It's about 30 metres out or so. A kicker of Paolo Garbisi's quality will fancy it. Any test level fly half would fancy it.
I think this might be the slowest decision about whether they want to go to the corner or if they want to go to posts, just to kill a little bit of time. But you can imagine, go for post, 90 seconds, you kill that off the clock.
They're going to the corner.
They're going to the corner, Italy. A statement of intent. They lead by 3 with 3 minutes left, less than 3 minutes, 2:40 left.
I think it's not as if they're going for the bonus point try. You know, they can't get a bonus point try. Why not go for the 3 points? Take them 6 points clear, which then means Scotland need a try and a conversion, which isn't going to happen, is it?
I'm not entirely sure why they're doing this, to be fair. So there's still enough time to get back up the park if this line out doesn't go to plan.
Tommaso De Bartolomeo throws it in. Scotland don't compete, they choose to defend them all, and they've won it down the side. Oh, and it's been sclaffed into touch by, was that Dempsey who came out the side and tried to boot it, and it looked like for a moment Scotland were going to break up the pitch, and the number 8 Jack Dempsey sclaffs it into touch.
I think we found something that Jack Dempsey can't do now, which has taken a while, but I'm not entirely sure how they get the ball. Great they get the ball, but you've got the likes of George Horne right there. Give that boy the ball.
George was actually pointing to him to kick, because all the Italians had came up into attack.
Stein was inside as well.
If he kicked it and stayed in, you'd guarantee, you'd back George Horne to win the chase back for that.
Italian line out though. Our scrum to Scotland. Yeah, Scottish scrum. Must have come off an Italian player, as that was kicked by
advantage. He was playing knock-on advantage and then
advantage. Yeah. Penalty to Scotland at the scrum. Hinging
You know, that's exactly the same way the last scrum went when Italy got the penalty, and this time Scotland get the penalty. It just bamboozled by their interpretation of the scrum sometimes.
I think it goes back to inconsistency. How are you expecting players to learn and adapt the way they're playing this match if the decisions aren't being consistently done through the match? You can understand why frustrations then creep in.
It is now or never for Scotland's final minute. They trail by 3. The penalty's been kicked down to short of halfway. They have got an almighty task if they want to win this game and start the Six Nations with a victory. You wouldn't bet on it now. They take the line out through Gregor Brown and are going to maul it. They've got 60 metres to go plus, and George Horne has got his hands on the back of George Turner, the hooker. Are driving it forward. Italy are doing their best to disrupt. It's still going. It's over the 10. An advantage is being played now to Scotland, and Horne's going to use it. Will they burst to life here, or they offloads away? Russell gets it out wide to Hugh Jones. It's Tom Jordan actually who's coming from full-back. He's clattered to the wet turf. Ruck is formed. Scotland have the advantage. It's Russell. Gives it now to Tuipulotu. Tuipulotu, the Scotland captain, with a good carry over the 10. Italy with a stout defensive effort, and the referee blows for the penalty for Scotland for Italy being in at the side. De Bartolomeo is penalised. Scotland will get another chance here.
Yeah, and they put the ball up the pitch, they get themselves into penalty range. If you get the penalty, what do you then do? Do you try and take the points, get the draw, or do you go for the broke and go for the victory? But first of all, we've got to win the line out.
Yeah, I think given the way this game has gone and how Scotland performed, go for the draw. At least you're not going to be rock bottom potentially of the table at the end of match week 1.
Finn Russell needs a good kick here. He's in his own half. Doesn't risk trying the hero ball. He just kicks it into Italy territory. The pouring rain is back on the completely soaked surface in Rome. It is not weather for thrilling rugby, but Scotland need a moment of magic. They need something, anything, to try and win this game. They've got about 40 metres to go to the Italian line. They trail by 3. One mistake and it's all over. They go to the back of the line out, taken by Cummings. Turner has it now under his Oxter. The drive is set up. It's going out the field, then back in. Horne uses it into Tuipulotu at first receiver, and Italy clamp on the ball through Minoncello looking to win it. Russell into Stein, and Italy will just try and soak up the pressure, and they've counter-rucked here. George Horne has it though, and it's away to the forwards. Scotland on the 10 metre line in Italy's half. No margin for error. It's worked one out. Scotland making slow metres round the corner. Thumping hit from Zuliani. It's terrific defence. Smash back into the ruck. Pick and go around the fringe from Williamson. And now Italy are trying to turn this into a maul, hold them up, get the scrum, but Scotland have managed to fight their way to the deck. Good carry from Brown. And now George Horne. There's no real numbers out to the near side, so they go back the other way with George Turner. Fischetti is trying to hold them off the grass. Scotland still have it. It's driven back on the slick surface. Scotland retreating now. Miller Mills taken round the ankles and up high. No momentum in this Scotland attack now. It goes to Hugh Jones at first receiver. Dances away from a couple before he's felled. They're working it to the other side. Gregor Brown with a strong carry. Horne goes digging, and Scotland work it through the front row. And Italy want the penalty here. Not given. Carried by Turner. He's a little bit isolated, but Scotland get numbers there. They need a moment of magic. They need inspiration. Italy holding firm at the moment. 3 points not enough for a win, but it would get them a draw. As Brown takes it forwards. Now it's into Miller Mills, and no numbers on the larger side, so they use the short side, and Horne has to turn forward and clear out there, so there's no scrum half. Hugh Jones now, as Scotland eat up the room on the far side. Back to Jack Dempsey. That's a good carry from the Scotland number 8. Worked back inside. Scotland moving towards the 22. Can they keep piling the pressure on tired Italian legs and minds? Tuipulotu over the 22, lays it back. Now it's with Gregor Brown. Savage carry from Brown. Now it's with Russell, delays the pass. Gives it, and Jones drives on. Scotland now halfway up the 22. That's a thumping hit on Miller Mills, driven backwards. Still Scotland come. George Horne asking the question if that's a penalty advantage. No, says the referee. Williamson thumps into contact. Have Italy held him up here? It's held up. This might be it. Italy are going to win it. Italy have done it. They've held Scotland up, and Italy have won the match. They have beaten Scotland by 3 points amid biblical rain in Rome. They have played the conditions better. They have been smarter. They have executed better, and they take what you have to say is a thoroughly deserved victory. They celebrate amongst their own people at the Stadio Olimpico as the camera pans to a shot of the Scotland head coach Gregor Townsend, who sits with his hands on his head, motionless, staring empty onto the sodden turf, because Scotland have been downed in Rome for the second time in consecutive visits. A performance which did not suggest they have learned the lessons of a painful autumn, and which does untold damage to any hopes they had of contending in this Six Nations Championship. The questions about Gregor Townsend and his future and how far he can take this Scotland team will only intensify and grow. And for Italy, they march on next week with a spring in their step and with smiles all round as they claim a deserved victory. Full time at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome. It finished on the opening weekend of the Six Nations. Italy 18, Scotland 15.
The passion lives here.
Sports Sound Rugby.
The Six Nations.
It's over the line and he gets it down for a Scotland try.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
It's more pain for Scotland in the Stadio Olimpico. They have been beaten by Italy once again, as was the case 2 years ago. And on round one of the Six Nations, you have to say that Gregor Townsend's side have suffered probably a fatal blow in their attempts to finally deliver a meaningful challenge for the title. You look at the fixtures still to come, and it's almost impossible to see how Scotland can now get themselves into the mix. This is such a damaging defeat, just as it was here in Rome 2 years ago. And all the questions swirling around Gregor Townsend, the head coach, will come back after a disappointing autumn. A lot of the same flaws on show here today, and it is a desperately disappointing day for the Scotland fans that have made the trip to the Italian capital, and those watching and listening at home as well. The players are still out on the field, the Scotland players absolutely dejected. Conversely, the Italians thrilled with what they have managed to do. They've beaten Scotland once again, and a bitterly disappointing day for the Scots. This is Sports Sound Rugby on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Sports Extra with me, Andy Burke. Thomas Duncan, Lisa Martin and Peter Wright have been describing the action, and Tom English is with us also. And Tom, how do you begin to sum up what you saw from Scotland today?
It's so deflating. Italy deserved to win. Well done, Italy. They were just that little bit better or less worse in the conditions. And I don't think Scotland handled the pressure. They didn't impose their game on Italy, and the conditions obviously were lousy for both, but Scotland didn't have a line break in the game. Italy had 6. A penalty count, Italy had 16 penalties, which Scotland 12. They expect Scotland to get a bit of traction from that. They didn't really. Scotland's line out was a calamity, way worse than Italy's. Italy's scrum was much better, and it was these tiny margins that separated the two of them in the end. Italy were just a little bit more nuggety, and they managed to drag themselves over the line. Scotland were, I thought, a crushing disappointment in pretty much every area, and all of the stuff that we've heard from them before, like nobody was factoring in horrendous rain, but it happens. All the stuff about the mental strength and the resilience and the fact that they've analysed to death about what holds them back. Well, they've lost their first game of the Six Nations, the championship. Hopes and dreams of it finally contending in the championship look to be gone. And you wonder whether Gregor Townsend should be gone too. I mean, he's not going to get rid of him in the middle of the tournament. But really, is there much beyond this Six Nations? Is there much point in persisting with this? Even if they go and beat England, it's this kind of constant Groundhog Day with Scotland. You can't trust them. You cannot trust this team, and maybe it's time soon for somebody else to get a go at running it.
Well, this is it, Peter Wright. The questions will come back and they will be very tough. They'll be very hard for Gregor Townsend. He said his team had learned a lot from the autumn, that collapse against Argentina in particular, but today was just the latest in a long list of examples that when Scotland find themselves in a hole, they very rarely manage to find a way out.
Well, what I thought the way they played in the second half was the way to play the game. That's how. But they didn't do that in the first half, and all the damage. Italy did all the damage in the first half. They scored their 2 tries, they got the majority of their points, but he should have had the. He's an experienced coach. He's played in these conditions. He can't play the type of rugby Scotland want to play in conditions like this. So you've got to adapt your game, and we didn't do that until the second half. And to be fair, the second half, loads of errors, but we were better in the second half. But we still struggled at breakdown, struggled in the scrums massively, struggled in the line out. So as soon as you lose those battles, and we won 1 or 2, but we lost the war in that part. That's where we lost the game. Lineouts. Yep, you can blame the conditions, but these guys are professional players. They have to adapt to conditions. They have to have the bottle to change things on the pitch. If the game plan is ABC and it's not working, you then have to change it. No, you can't wait for the coaches sometimes to come in and make that decision. You've got to do it yourself. Are they going to use that as an excuse? Well, the coaches wanted us to do this, so that's what we're doing. That's sometimes what players do. But it wasn't working that first half, and then it was the amount of errors, and you can understand those conditions, but the set piece errors, that's not down to rain. The scrummaging errors, that's not down to rain. The breakdown didn't have dominance Italy, but I thought they were slightly better, more aggressive. That's not down to rain, that's just down to desire. That's just down to having the right headspace and desire, and today Italy wanted it more than us.
And I think that's right, Peter. And if you look at the way Scotland were, even though they went through 29 phases at the end, and Williamson was held up, but they had a lot of intensity, a lot of aggression about them in that. They didn't score, but if they brought that to bear from the start, they might not have been on the wrong end of this. They battled ferociously, and you give them credit for that in the conditions, but they were so
I think
vulnerable.
They just thought their game plan was going to work.
Yeah.
Even though the conditions would say it wasn't, I just think they had that. Yeah, we'll just keep doing it because eventually it'll just kick in and work.
Yeah.
You could see for the first 10, 15 minutes that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.